Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive podcast with me, Pamela Walsh, and the lovely
Sian Horn. Thank you for calling me lovely. How are you?
You're welcome, lovely. I'm good. Well, I'm all peopled out.
You're such a liar. We just had a real good bitch before we came on.
I am all peopled out. I've had a 3-day work week and I've already been in 15 hours of a mixture of in-person, face-to-face and online meetings and just on phones. There's been problems this week, not to do with me. It was somebody's causing a massive problem. And I am I know you're great for up and out and meeting people, but I need breaks in between. I'm wrecked today. It sucked the life out of me. Sit me in front of a spreadsheet with my laptop all day long. I am a happy little pig.
Well, actually, I'm quite glad you said that because my husband says to me all the time, all you do is talk to people. I mean, how hard can it be? But actually, it's exhausting. It absolutely is. And I've actually had a lovely week. I was back from Amsterdam on Monday, and just had a real chill. So I came back very fresh, having eaten a lot of bad food, and actually came back craving green food. I never thought I'd say that. In fact, when I said it yesterday, I choked on my own spit. But yeah, no, so I've had a good week, a balanced week. And yesterday I was emceeing a fabulous marketing event with Azure Communication, which was so much fun. Do you know what? It was so good. And a real mix of room, like big business and small business, all working together and all learning from each other, which is just what I love. So yeah, I've had a fulfilling week.
Good. And did you get your step count in Amsterdam?
Didn't get my step count. I have to tell you, though, I would say it was in the tens of millions because we were walking, we on the third day, I literally said to my husband, can we just jump on a tram? So we were just jumping on trams and going and see if it would take us in the right direction. Not one did, by the way. So we'd go away from where we want to go and then we'd walk back. But I just wanted to use my pass because I hate to waste money. So I was like, let's just jump on a few trams because we walked everywhere. And that's actually what I loved about Amsterdam is the accessibility of it. However, I did say, isn't it funny? You're on away city break and you get up in the morning and you're like, where should we go to? Oh, it's only 15 minutes down the road. It's only half an hour to walk. It's only, and you kind of make your way around the city. Yet when I'm in my house, I'm like, I could walk to Douglas in 25 minutes, but I just get in the car.
Yeah, you'd never walk that far. No, even my shop is like a mile down the road. I would never walk down there. I'd always drive,
And
my friends live in Rotterdam, actually. So we've spent, they emigrated there a good few years back, but we spent a lot of time back and forth to Rotterdam and Amsterdam. It's fab. It's a really nice city. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to go back because next time we go back, we'll go to Haarlem and Rotterdam and spend some time a bit further out. Because I feel like we've walked the city now. So, but it took 4 days and we did do it. Like, I'm quite pleased with myself. The other thing that I thought was really funny though, as well, is like, I'm not one of these big faster people, but I just tend not to eat till about 3 or 4 in the day, just because I'm not a breakfast person. And I'm always busy. So I don't really think of food until I stop. So, but on holiday, oh my God, you get up and you're like, right, where are we going for breakfast? Let's Google, get on TikTok, let's find out where we go. And then you literally are taking the last mouthful of your breakfast. You're like, okay, where's the best place in Amsterdam for lunch? And then dinner. And you're like, calm down. And then when I got back, literally went straight back into my routine. I said to my husband, isn't it weird that we can go from eating like 3 times a day, like too much. And then the first day we're back, my body is not asking for food.
It's probably, and I know I'd be like that as well. I'm craving a salad. I've had too much crap. But I think when you're on holidays like that and you have those long days, I think you pivot your day around your meals, isn't it?
Yeah.
It structures your day because you've no routine.
I seriously, though, there was one place, and I have to tell you, it's called Chun. CHUN. They're just about to open a second one in Amsterdam. It opens at 10 o'clock in the morning. We got there at 10 to 10. There was a queue down the street over a bridge that you have to get into. All it is it's a fried sandwich shop. And when I say fried, I don't mean deep fried. I mean, like, you know, griddled, like a cheese griddle.
Yeah.
But it's like this thick bread, and then they stuff it with either like a bolognese and cheese and eggs, or I had garlic prawn, and this was for breakfast. I was like, can I have garlic prawns for breakfast? I'm so glad I did. It's possibly the best thing I've ever shoved in my gob ever. It was unbelievable. And, you know, obviously then I'm sitting there going, okay, this is €15. I'm working out the GP. I'm like, I want to open a churn. Because I say the GP's got to be 72%, and it's a really small unit. They had 4 staff, 3 people in the kitchen. I was like, this is some setup. It was, from a business perspective, I got so excited about it. The food was unbelievable, but I was just like, why would you not open one? It's a money spinner.
If you open it gluten-free, I'll do it with you. I'm going to do something in gluten-free at some point because I'm celiac. There's such like a lack of, like, you know, food and like out, you know what I mean? Like the proper gluten-free where you can trust places.
I can't believe no one has not done, like, no one's done a low carb place, but with bread, and, you know, because I make lovely low carb bread, lovely low carb crackers. That's the way I eat. And no one's done it. And I've noticed actually recently in Dunnes, Marx's and Tesco, there is a sourdough cracker and a seeded cracker in Dunnes that is low carb, but most importantly, only 0.3 in sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I am happy to eat them. But no one's done that either. We should do a gluten-free, low-carb cafe.
Yeah, my husband's on the carnivore diet now again. He did it last November just to try it. And he's like, his brain is so much clearer. He just feels so much more energized on it. I don't agree because I think it's too extreme, the carnivore diet. Yeah. But it seems to be working for him at the moment. He's kind of more keto now, I suppose, because I forced him to bring in some vegetables as well, because I'm like, you can't just live on dairy and meat. That's horrendous. Like,
no, and it's too high fat, and that's no good for us either. So, but no, this works for me, and I like you said, my brain buzzes when I'm in full swing. But for me, it's just no sugar. It's not about, you know, anything else. It's about getting rid of that sugar. However, I have to tell you something else very quickly. So I had a very fulfilling week last week, and I went to this Bliss event up in Wicklow, and I experienced my first cacao.
Oh, yeah.
Is it cacao? Because they kept taking the mickey.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they were. Yeah. I thought they were taking the mickey out of how I was saying it. But anyway, I was like, I've been offered this hot chocolate so much, and I'm always like, yeah, no, you're fine, thanks. I don't really drink hot drinks, as you know. And anyway, everybody had one, so I was like, I'm going to have one. And I was like, does this like chill you out? You know, I was like, is it like, you know, a chilling experience? Anyway, I've got to tell you, it did not have that effect on me. I was buzzing, because I don't drink caffeine.
Yeah.
So
is there caffeine in it?
There's caffeine in it. Okay. I mean, I don't drink pop, and a cup of tea I might have once a year, and I've never had coffee in my life. So I was buzzing. So all these people are like, oh, isn't that lovely? And I was like, I want to get my DJ set out. Like, I'm ready to dance. Who's coming out? Like, I was like, should I feel like this? And she was like, oh yeah, it can have that effect on some people. And I went, it's definitely. So yeah, so that could be my future. Lose the wine, bring in the cacao. I don't think it is said like that.
We'll be on a night out, and Shan will be in the corner with her little hot chocolate, and I'll be drinking wine.
Absolutely. Yeah, but God, it had a real weird effect on me. But
I need to try it. I have never had it, actually. Yeah, it's just, I'm tea, like hook tea to my veins. I'm not a coffee drinker. My husband is, but like, yeah, I'm like hook tea up to my veins, and I will have it all day.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was a little bit woo-woo for me, because I always say I'm holistic, but just not that holistic. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, I have to say. Yeah, but I think I would definitely have it again, but I'd get my decks out and then have a bit of a boogie.
I don't think that's what you're meant to do on it. I think it's meant to be.
Well, actually, there's a new thing out and I don't know what it's called. I want to say holistic dance, but it's not holistic dance. But that's what they do now. They have these chocolate ceremonies, and then they have a DJ and everybody dances. A friend of mine's been to one, and actually my DJ teacher does those events. And I was like, oh my God, move over, I'm coming in.
Well, I've seen a lot of those like cacao ceremonies being kind of advertised, but like I didn't know there was like a whole DJ aspect to it as well.
Yeah, it's a big business, women's circles and all that. And, but, you know, and when we're talking about people and talking to people and draining, I think to run something like that, you have to really know how to protect yourself, because people do give you a lot of their stuff. And I'm, you know, we've talked about energies before, and I'm dreadful. I take on everybody's energy. So if I'm around someone that starts crying, I tend to start crying. If I'm around someone that wants to dance for 3 hours, I just start dancing. And that's, you know, so I would find that quite difficult.
Me too. I'm the same. I take in everyone's energy around me. I can see now my daughter does as well, because she takes in mine. Because if she's being a bit chaotic, I have to kind of sometimes stop and go, what's going on with me? Because I know she's feeding off it, you know. I've sorted myself out in it and nearly sort her out as well at the same time. But I do. I'm like that. If I'm in a room with people who are very down and just, you know, like giving out about things constantly, it brings me really down. Yeah. Yeah, no. My husband's in a bad mood. I'm like, you have to snap out of this because it's affecting me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Or go into another room. I would say best marriage advice: 2 bathrooms, 2 tellies, sorted. Oh, bless. Anyway, let's talk about this week's law.
It's a short law this week. It is a short law. So I had a look at it last night. I was laughing because it's the same people coming up over and over again, which tells me, geez, they're really, really good at their marketing, because it's the same people I keep thinking about. But I'll read the law anyway and we'll talk about it. The law is, you must piss people off. Don't be afraid of alienating people with emotional, bold, or even decisive marketing approaches. Triggering an emotional response that engages 20% of your audience and enrages 80% can be more valuable than the approach to which 100% is indifferent. Some people will love you, some people will hate you, some people will simply not care. You will only connect the first 2, but not to the third. Indifference is the least profitable outcome.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it brings me to, you know, you're not for everybody.
No.
And
that's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, understanding that and feeling comfortable with that is probably the most important rule of business.
Really hard for the people pleasers, though. Really, really hard.
Yeah, but I think we're people pleasers, so I don't. I'm not saying that understanding it doesn't hurt you. You know, if I piss someone off, it hurts my feelings as much as it will hurt theirs. I would never mean to piss somebody off. However, in business, sometimes a business decision sometimes can piss people off, but you don't do it with intent.
No, and see, I always find that really funny about myself, and I've had these conversations before. I am such a elder millennial, even that, but I'm such a people pleaser. I really am, and I feel really uncomfortable like letting people down. But in a business context, when I'm talking about the business and what is best for the business, I will defy anybody in the room. Like literally, I sat in a room on Monday or Tuesday for hours and was like, all week long, I've been arguing for a project to go ahead and get across the line because somebody's just thrown a massive spanner into the work. And I am pissing people off in the process because I think it is the best thing for the business, you know, and I'm not a people pleaser in that sense. And I think you have to because you have to think about your business like that, like it's your child, it's your baby. You have to do what's best for it, no matter who it annoys, no matter who it pisses off. It's nothing to do with you. It's best for the business, and that will piss people off. And I can do that without people pleasing.
But that's why you're a good consultant, because the only reason that you're doing that is because you think of that business as your baby.
Always, yeah.
You know, I remember when I was in corporate, you know, I would argue tooth and nail if I thought the decision was right. And people would always say to me, Sean, it's not your money. It's not your business. Why do you worry so much? And I'm like, because it is my business. I, everybody I've ever worked for, I've been super passionate about. And so I, like yourself, and that's why consultancy works with us, because we do always treat the businesses like they are ours. I had a client this week, actually, and I was like, good God, I have to go in. So, I mean, I wasn't getting paid, but I had to go and visit them yesterday because I had to go and see it for myself. Do you know what I mean? My friend said, why are you doing that? You're driving into town. You're going to spend 2 hours doing this that you're not getting paid for it. And I said, I just can't let it go. I'm involved now, and it's like my business.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like it's just all I will think about until it's sorted. Like I've spent so many hours on calls this week. I literally had a conversation of like, 'cause again, I'm trying to save costs and, salvage a situation. And one part of a conversation was like, but look, it's okay if we lose some money. And I'm like, but it shouldn't be okay because we can avoid losing money. So let's do our absolute best to do that. And it's, I like, and no, to be fair to me now, I will say, like, I was in a meeting this week that was like, there was a lot of aggression in the meeting. And 4 or 5 years ago, I would have lost my head and I would have taken heads in that meeting. But I was very like, because I can see things play out. That's one of my superpowers. And you know yourself, we had a conversation this morning. I saw all of this play out 6 months ago, and I said this to you. And now, because this morning when I told Shan the details of what's going on at the moment, she was like, oh my God, you said this would happen. And I knew it would happen. And now I'm trying to like just do damage control, I think, really is what I'm trying to do. But it is very difficult. And you can't people please when you're protecting your business. You have to treat it like a whole different person that's vulnerable, and you were the only person standing up for it.
I know. And do you know what? Sometimes I find as well, like I might give a business not the answer that they want to hear. So then they'll go and they'll get another consultant. So I'll be working with somebody else, and then they don't give them the answer. So they get another one, and they just keep pulling people in until they get the yes they want. And I'm like, that's not what this is about. When someone has more experience than you and they give you some advice, take it, heed it.
Yeah.
Fight them on it by all means. And I'm all for testing. I'm always for testing. If you don't agree with me, let's test your way then. And then let's test my way, and let's see what brings the better outcome.
But look at the evidence, though. And that's what I say in all these situations. It's look at the evidence. Like, what are the facts of the situation? Because I'm telling you, 80% of these arguments, and I don't know about your opinion, it's all opinion based. But if everybody can present the facts for their opinion, I can guarantee you there's one that will stand out above everybody else's. And that's my argument in everything. I'm like, okay, but let's make decisions on facts, not on throwaway comments people are making here and there. And like, it's bring everything back to actual real information, take the bias and the objectivity and all of the emotions out of it, and make decisions on facts. And then you'll get to the right place.
So you've obviously given an example there of, where you've had to be that law. Is there another way that we can use that law, an explanation for that law that people in small business might think about? I mean, that we've got you're not okay for everybody. And like I say, like I always say, you're not okay for everybody. Don't worry about it though, accept that. But I really think it's important to understand that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you. And especially as women, we are natural nurturers. So yes, I mean, I take everything to heart. People think I'm this bolshy, strong businesswoman. I take everything to heart, because it hurts, doesn't it? We are normal. We are human. But is there another bit of advice that we'd give, I suppose?
It's hard for everyone, because like I literally came out of a meeting the other day and I came home and I was like, I might just quit. Look, I'll just go stock shelves and super value, because you know what now? It's just not worth stuff. And I was chatting to another friend of mine the other day. They were like, oh, how are you getting on? I was like, I think I'm just going to give it all up. I'm just going to go stock shelves. And he actually said back to me, he was like, no word. He's the same, runs his own business. He was like, no word of a lie. He was looking at some guy driving a bin collection lorry the other day, and he was envious of him. And his business is doing really well. But he was like, there's no stress. He's just driving his truck. Wouldn't it be great? But we all go through that. But I think it's accepting that that's part of it. And
yes,
it's just always going to be part of it. You're always going to have those moments, but the more you go through them, you recover from them faster and you get up again and you just carry on.
he
I think,
mentions in the he mentions in the book about, you know, the art of not giving a fuck, the book. Have
yeah,
you read
Mark
it?
Manson. I haven't read it. I've seen it's on Netflix and I
Yeah.
started watching it on Netflix. No, I've seen a few bits with Mark Manson and Stephen has interviewed him before and the interview was actually really good. But it is one thing I always think about when I'm in those moments is I go up. I go really high for myself when I look down and you go, you are on a rock spinning through space. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Everyone is just thinking about themselves. So when you're in those moments of, oh my God, you know, the world is ending. I'm not pleasing everyone. Everybody hates me. It doesn't matter. You're on a rock spinning through space. You know, I always try to think about that, just step back
Yeah.
from the actual situation. Because to you, it's the world, but in 2 weeks' time, it won't matter at all. And will it matter in a month's time? My husband always says that to me. Will this matter next year? And I'm like, no, it won't. And he's like, well, then
But
stop
it's
worrying about it.
easier. It's easier for men. They don't have the empathy gene. Like they don't. Like it's fact. Like they don't have the same fit. They don't feel the same as us. So I just think with the, you know, the art of not giving a fuck, I just don't believe it. I think everybody gives a fuck. Even the people that say they don't give a fuck, give a fuck. I mean, I say it all the time. Oh, I couldn't give a shit. Like, I don't mean that. Of course I give a shit. Do you know what I mean? However, I give less of one when I do what you just said, when I look down at myself and go, for God's sake, you're like a Maniba on Maniba on Maniba. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're so tiny, like, do not panic. And if you've pissed someone off, you didn't mean to do it. If they don't know that, then they don't know you. And that's what you've really got to take from it, I think.
Yeah. And like, we're all adults at the end of the day. I mean, you know, a grown up, if you've hurt somebody or you've pissed somebody off and you're trying to be kind in your daily life, then, you know, if they're having an issue, then they should be able to bring it up as well with you, you know. And I think you're always going to have problems with people in business. It's just part of it, and it's how you deal with it, and you don't take it on. And there is that old saying that like it's not personal, it's just business, and that is true. But
Yeah,
it is very hard to separate that out because especially when it's your business, because it is personal, it's yours, it's your baby. You're feeding your family with that business. You're paying your mortgage with that business. You know.
I'll give you a really good example, actually, and I'll leave you with this. But when I started the club, obviously it's called a network, but it's a learning and support system for women. I started it because a group of women asked me to create a space for them. So that's why I started it. It pissed people off that I started it, but they didn't understand it. Is that my problem? No, that's their bloody problem.
Mm-hmm.
However, the women that made me do it all then disappeared. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, hang on a minute now. You're leaving me to deal with all these people being pissed off. And I did this because of you. So I just think that's when you stand your ground. If people don't understand what you're trying to achieve, that is not your problem. That is their problem, 100%. They need to ask questions. And if they don't, they'll never understand. But again, that's their problem.
It is, yeah. And with that, like if you're being innovative and disrupting and being on that edge and being like one of one, not like one of 100, you know, like what we were talking about last week, everybody's using the same roadmap. Everyone's doing the same 5 steps. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the first or one of the first and on the edge of that level of innovation. And you're going to disrupt people. People are going to judge. And if you want to be that successful in that way, you have to just kind of like accept that as being part of it. And I was thinking last night, it's like, from like with branding and advertising and stuff like that, I can see even just talking about Stephen himself. My husband's like, what's he doing? Like,
yeah, I don't
did you
get it
see
anymore.
his recent podcast, Dr. Vegan? Like, I was on a walk and I was listening to it, and I swear to God, I stopped and I went, is he fucking real? Like, he literally said, your man, Dr. Vegan, oh, a piece of bread is so much better for you than chicken. And I was like, because chicken is so high in fat. Bread is very processed. Like, I was sitting there going like, I'm not a nutritionist. I cannot, have any science behind this, but I know that's like not correct. But Stephen's like, he's really bringing in all of these like outliers in nutrition and performance and all of this. And my husband's like, what? And my husband's a marathon runner and he's on the bloody carnivore diet. So he's his target audience. But he's like, this is like ridiculous. What's he doing? And I was like,
well, it's not what we tuned into. We tuned Diary of a CEO.
But who
and it was
is
his
advertising?
diary.
Who's sponsoring the podcast?
Oh,
and
all
who
of the
is
people
he
that he's invested in.
Whoop, performance management. There's Huel, which is nutrition.
Yeah.
And there's Zoe, which is all performance management and nutrition.
They're all his part, but he's got money in them all.
Yeah, exactly. But he is now bringing in guests that appeal to the people who will buy those products.
But absolutely, how clever. I wouldn't do anything different.
Exactly. But, that's what I said. It's very strategic.
Yeah. However, I'm not tuning in anymore.
No, but he's pissing off the 80% to get his 20% because we're all like, what is he on about? I don't know about this anymore. But the 20% that will stay engaged and connected to him are the people that will buy Huel, Zoe and Whoop. So he's literally doing this now at the moment in real time and we're seeing it.
I think he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, he has.
He's been doing it for a long time. It just, for some reason, people on social are only just picking up on it. I mean, he's been doing it for the last year or two.
Oh, there was a guy, I'd say 9 months ago. He's like, he's trying to not age. I don't know. I can't remember his name. He's crazy stuff. Like
the amount of times I've turned it on and turned it off, the drop off rate. But so the only thing, I don't believe in the 80-20. I mean, and as a woman, I think you would struggle to believe that.
How do you mean? Because I very much see 80-20 work in business analysis an awful lot when I'm working with big data. So how do you don't believe in it?
So in the sense of I believe in, looking at where you should be spending 100% of your time with 80% of your people and the 20% that are disengaged, not so much. However, if I go and piss off 80% of my people, as a woman, we've just spoken about you're not for everybody and we can be okay with that. However, I know as a woman that still hurts. That hurts. I know as a man, it does not hurt so much because they don't have the empathy that we have.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I cannot agree with that.
Yeah, I do think it's extreme. It is like it's okay to piss people off, but actively working to piss 80% of your people off, I think is a dick move. But we can see it in him now. But I can see it also but like Ryanair, we keep going back to Ryanair because they piss a lot of people off.
No, they're not with their social doesn't piss me off. Their social highlights what pisses people off that still use them. So they're making comical value. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a Ryanair girl.
I think they're hilarious.
Yeah, I'm 100% Ryanair. I just flew with Aer Lingus actually. I thought it was exactly the same as Ryanair, apart from the fact that I couldn't bloody pay to couldn't take my case off, which pissed me off. I had to check my 10 kilos in, annoying. So then I had to wait both ends. So my travel was longer. The seat is exactly the same. I had less leg room, 100% less leg room. And I'd go Ryanair.
See, I'm a shorty, so the leg room doesn't bother me wherever I go.
Yeah, see, I've got long legs. So but Ryanair to me don't piss people off. They're clever with their marketing. But they know who their customer is and they do look after their customer.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. I can see it in Alex Hormozy. I don't know, do you know Alex Hormozy? He's doing it as well. He was always very, not appealing to everybody in any way, but he's very, and I've always liked him. I have a couple of his books. He's a really good, like creating an offer structure book and a lead book as well. Chasing leads and creating leads. But he's gone in a direction, like he's set up a new company called acquisition.com. Now he's a pure gym bro, like marketing bro, you know what I mean? Hustle bro, American. Like he's in these like wife beaters with the muscles out all the time. But there's gold in a lot of stuff he says, but he's gone very kind of he's gone to the end of, oh, you have 2 days a week where you don't work, so you've no excuses. You can work on weekends if you want to, all this stuff. I think he's trying to now appeal to an audience and really like concentrate his audience into like people who are like him, hustle bros, work bros, don't want a life, just want to work 24/7. Why would you want a life? Like I think he literally said recently is like, you work to have a life, that's the kind of saying.
Really?
He's edited it like you work to work, there's what's the point in having a life. That's his thing now.
How
because
old is he?
He's no kids. I'd say he's mid-30s, early to mid-30s.
Okay.
And his wife is quite young as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know him, so I can't comment on him. But if I met someone that just said to me what you just said to me, I just think he was a bit of a twat, to be honest.
Oh, he's like, and I like, there's such gold in the stuff he's put out there, and all his stuff is free on acquisition.com. He's so many resources. He's great stuff out there. But I can see he's really trying to concentrate his market into people who just want to work 24/7, because he's like, I've no time for anyone else anymore,
Yeah.
What
a shame. What a shame. I'm sure if something happened to him and and he was on his deathbed, he'd go, I'm so glad I worked my tits off and never experienced a fulfilling life and spent time with my friends and family. Do you know what I mean? Like, what an idiot.
But their new strategy is, in acquisition.com, they're buying businesses. They're buying $1 million businesses and taking them over. So that's all he wants to see now. Okay,
so we want to plaster that name up on the wall, and when he's 60, we want to see what he's preaching.
I know,
because I bet he is having a go at his younger self.
Yeah, I know.
And putting pressure on people to think that they're inadequate unless they do that. Listen, I love a hustle. I'm made to hustle. I bloody love work, and work makes me. But to preach that, I just think it's a bit stinky. I don't like it.
I agree. Like they're getting very polarized, these people, and it's awful to see it, because I'm like, I really liked them, and now it's like, I don't know, can I listen to this stuff anymore? Like, I've done 15 hours of meetings this week, and I am I just want to sit on the couch now. Like, give me 20 hours a week in front of my laptop working away. I am a little happy bunny, but like that stuff is draining. Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I'm losing faith in all people. I put up a thread this morning. I'm like, I've peopled too much this week. I'm going to move to the woods and become a hermit. And I genuinely think I will.
No, that would be boring as well. We could have a cacao ceremony in the woods.
Cacao in the woods.
My DJ deck. But listen, we're going to wrap it up. But I want to leave this. First of all, actually, if you're enjoying the podcast, please comment. Love to know what you think about our conversation today. We went a bit off track, but and sorry for the language. I just get very annoyed at people. If you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, we have packages for small business and large business. We want to make sure everybody's accommodated, because actually small business seems to be really enjoying it. Yeah. And the power of the podcast and the power of the podcast sponsorship is huge, because that advert is there forever. What will we leave everybody is, I want comments this week. I really want to know what people think about the conversation and about that law, because although it's a short law, it's a real meaty law.
Yeah. It's especially now in the world where you can see people are really like leaning into that piss people off thing. And like he even said, like, it's like selling books with titles on them that had curse words 10 years ago. People started doing it. But all of this, like based on last week's law, this will eventually become wallpaper. Like I'm seeing it now as because I'm just good at spotting those things, but I'm like, oh, another person that's just been extreme to be extreme, just to be seen, and that's it. Like,
okay, smile for the camera. And we'll leave you with that. Thanks so much, guys.
See you next week. The music used for the opening and closing of this podcast is titled Pleasant Porridge by Kevin MacLeod. IncompeteTech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0. www.creativecommons.org/licenses/by/4.0.